Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Legal Corner with me, Hai Tran from H&T Law. So I don't know about you guys, but I just feel completely blown away by the fact that it's already December. I feel like, I was just taking out the Halloween decorations, and now it's December and I'm already going out to buy Christmas presents, which means 2023 is just around the corner. So now that it's December, I am doing a lot more online shopping and just shopping in general. And I guess that kind of made me think about this topic. But what really triggered this topic for me, this topic idea that I'm going to be talking about today, is when I was standing in line at the bank. When I was standing in line at the bank, behind the bank tellers, there were these big screens, and it was, warning signs for their clients, telling them to be wary and cautious of the amount of credit card frauds that's happening, especially around this time. So in December, as you know, like what I was saying before, a lot of us are out here where we're buying, we're shopping a lot more, we're buying things online, getting things sent to our home, our houses. And this means that there's more opportunities for fraudsters to collect our information, right? So there's a lot more credit card frauds that's happening right now in December. So it got me thinking about just fraud in general and just how prevalent real estate fraud is. So I'm going to show you guys an article. So this is pretty recent. So this article talks about this Mississauga lawyer that was accused of frauding his clients over millions of dollars. So as okay, in a sale transaction, what would happen is you would have to pay off your mortgage. And it wouldn't be you as the owner who pay it off. It would be the lawyer. So the lawyer collects the proceeds from the sale from the other side, and they take this money and they they discharge or pay out the mortgage, and then what's remaining, then they wire or transfer it to their client's account. So this lawyer, what he was doing was, instead of paying off the mortgage that's on the file, he would pocket this money for himself. So his clients didn't actually know that this was happening until months later, when they're getting a phone call from their bank saying, hey, you've defaulted. Why haven't you been paying the mortgage? And then the clients are like, wait, what? I sold this property months ago. So that's what this guy was doing. And he was arrested in August of 2022, so a couple months ago. And he was arrested at the Pearson airport. So he had left already, he ran away, and then he came back to Toronto in August, and that's when he was arrested. So imagine if he hadn't come back, right? So he would have gotten away with it. And it's estimated that he, out of the 6-7 months that he was doing this, which isn't very long, because you could be practicing for years, but out of the 6-7 months that he was doing this, he has, well, it's estimated that he has taken over $50 million worth of money from his clients. So that is a substantial amount of money. And these clients too, right? So who's at a loss? Is it the lender that's at a loss, or is it the client? So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that as well. So that's one type of fraud. There's other types of fraud as well, where people will, these fraudsters, what they would do is they would impersonate the owners of the property. So they will impersonate you and pretend to take, well, they would take out a second mortgage on your property without you even realizing that this has happened. Or if, let's say, you're on vacation for months at a time, this happens quite a lot with like older couples who would, go to Florida for 6 months and then come back, right? So what they would do is they would actually impersonate and pretend to be these owners, go into the property, like break into that property, pretend to be the owners, and actually sell the property right underneath you. So there's cases where these owners would come back from vacation or whatever it is that they were gone to. They'll come back and there will be just new people living in their property, and they're like, what are you doing? You're in our property. While these new buyers, or these buyers or the new owners are also confused, and they're like, no, we bought this property from the other owners. What they didn't realize is those owners were impersonators and they weren't the real legitimate owners. So in that case too, it's like, who's at a loss? Is it the old owners or is it the new owners? Because what if you can't find these fraudsters, right? They've ran off with the money. So this actually happens quite a lot in real estate. It happens more often than we would like it to happen. And I've been told that what started off as a couple of files of real estate fraud a year has now turned into like hundreds of real estate fraud transactions happening a year. So it is happening more and more. And I guess that brings me to my next point is, well, how do you prevent this from happening, or how do you protect yourself from this happening? So I guess there's a couple ways, and I think the first most obvious way, and I'm sure you've heard this before as well, but it's to be really cautious with who it is that you're sending your information to. So your identity, your driver's license, personal information, all of that. Be very cautious with who you're sharing this information with and what website you're sharing this information with, or where you're sharing this information, right? So if you're getting an email and it says something like, hey, Canada Post has your package and you got to click this link and put in your information to release it or to pay import fees or whatever it is, make sure that that email is actually from whoever it is that you think it's supposed to be from. And if you feel uncertain or weary about it, then call them, right? So find their phone number and call them, call DHL, call Pure Later and be like, hey, this is my tracking code. I just received this email from you guys. Is this actually you guys? So if you're a little bit uncertain, definitely just call them, because these emails are getting very, very good. Even, for me, I feel like I'm pretty technically savvy, and there's been times where I've had to really double check these emails because it looks so real. So yeah, so just be very cautious about these things. A second way to kind of prevent this from happening or protect yourself is to make sure you find a really good real estate agent and a trusted lawyer. So this lawyer, the one that I was just talking about, who pocketed all of his clients' money. Well, I mean, if you got a trusted lawyer and you knew what questions to ask of your lawyer, then this would not have been able to happen. So the Law Society of Ontario requires that all lawyers have to keep all the receipts of all of these transactions. So if you're feeling uncertain, and let's say you're selling your property and you want to make sure that your lawyer actually paid off the mortgage, then you should ask them, be like, hey, can you send me the receipt of you paying off this mortgage just for my own accounting purposes or for my own records? You do something like that, then and if the lawyer is not able to provide you with that receipt, then something's a little off, because for myself, I keep all the receipts of every transaction that I do, even if it's like $500, $600, let alone a $300,000 mortgage payoff, right? All of these have to be there has to be record of this. So if you're feeling uncertain, ask your lawyer, hey, can you provide me with the receipt of this? And you don't have to say in a skeptical way. You're just like, hey, just for my own record. And then also getting a good real estate agent. So why is this important? Well, a good real estate agent is helpful because a good real estate agent is going to ask a lot of questions. So they're going to ask a lot of questions from their clients, but they're also going to ask a lot of questions for their clients. So if you're buying a property, your real estate agent is going to ask the other side questions like, oh, why is your seller buying this? Selling this property? How long have they lived here? Is there a reason why they're selling? They're gonna be very inquisitive and ask a lot of questions for their client. And asking a lot of questions is going to give you more information and make sure that you are actually dealing with the actual owners of the property and not a fraudster or an impersonator, right? Lastly, another thing that can protect you from real estate fraud, and something that I advise to all of my clients, is to get title insurance. So I get this question quite a lot. What's the difference between title insurance and home insurance? My clients would say, I already have home insurance, so I don't need title insurance. So title insurance protects you from ownership defects or ownership issues. Home insurance protects you from damages to the property. With title issues, it's a lot harder to see, right? You can't just walk into a property and know who the owners are, right? You can't walk into the property and know all the title issues, as opposed to home insurance, where you can walk into a property and be like, okay, this right here is damage. The home insurance will cover this. So with title insurance, it protects you from not only real estate fraud, but also things like encroachment issues, survey issues, open permit issues, and so on and so forth. And the great thing about title insurance too, it's a one-time cost that lasts you for the whole time that you own that property. So with home insurance, car insurance, all of that, it's monthly, but with title insurance, it's a one-time cost, and it's not even that expensive if you're thinking about the whole grand scheme of things. If you're buying a $500,000 property, $600,000 property, title insurance is going to cost you probably around $400, $500, right? So title insurance costs more, depending on how expensive the property is, but roughly it's around $300 to $600. So $300 to $600 in the whole grand scheme of buying a $500,000-$600,000 property, it's not that much, right? For that peace of mind and for that protection. So that's something I advise to all of my clients: get title insurance when you're buying a property, because it will protect you from these type of frauds. So if you have any more questions in regards to title insurance, feel free to message me. My email is hai@hntlaw.ca. I'll be more than happy to teach you a little bit more about title insurance. And I guess, yeah, that ends our topic today on fraud. And I hope you guys have a great holiday.